right? Maybe I did betray you a little bit.
Welcome to the Regular Menthol podcast, where we discuss Kino movies. My name is Tate, and my co-host here is Chris.
Hello, everybody.
We give a little thoughts on the movie, our experience, then we discuss specific scenes that we like, followed up with a Kino rating. The movie we are discussing today is the movie Blow. Came out in 2001.
That's the Johnny Depp movie.
The Johnny Depp movie, Blow. Blow, in case you're wondering, it's about a guy who grows up poor in the 50s, and he decides to stop being poor and start dealing drugs. And like any Joe Flipperhead out there, he starts selling weed first. He makes some good money doing it, but he gets arrested. And then he decides, if he's going to put his freedom at risk, he might as well get uber rich while selling big boy drugs. In the process, he finds a nice Colombian wife and befriends Pablo Escobar before getting before getting screwed over by his completely coked out partner. Now, Mr. Chris, your first time watching the movie, what's your memories?
This was one where, this is 2001. Wasn't big into movies until probably 2010, when I started acting. So this was on, I think I'd see it on TV. I'd see parts of it, watch it here and there, but I didn't actually sit down to watch it probably 9 years after it released in 2010. So, but yeah, in watching it and being kind of, focused on the acting, you kind of get drawn to Johnny Depp and Ray Liotta's performances. But the movie, very entertaining. Love the soundtrack, shot composition, the vibrance of the colors. It's a very cool movie for sure. Aside from, whatever the context is, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
How about yourself? What do you think?
I remember watching this movie, on the couch with my dad when he rented it. This movie came out in theaters in April 2001, and of all days, it was released to the home market on 9/11.
Oh boy,
2001. Quite a day.
Wait, this movie was actually released on 9/11
on DVD to the home market.
Okay, all right.
To home video,
right?
Which I guess back then included VHS as well. Very
yes.
basic. But I remember, back in the day, when the movie came out, the home release wouldn't come out until like 5 or 6 months later. Do you remember that?
I do.
Whereas now, I'm looking at when this Sinners movie is coming out on streaming, so I can watch it illegally online instead of having to go to the movie theater to watch it. And it's only like a month later after it came out.
So was that when it's the home release? Does that include Blockbuster, or did they get it early?
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure when they release it to the home release, it comes out on at Blockbuster because they buy it.
Okay. Yep.
I'm not 100% sure. And in 2001, it might have been like the last Blockbuster's on its last legs anyway. So they might have been trying some stuff about getting movies earlier. I kind of forget at that point. It could have been like they had it a couple weeks early. X amount of copies.
I guess I got to ask you, who is the literal you character in this movie?
I identify with George in this movie because I want to make a bunch of money. I want to get a ton of money, and I don't want to work at a job to do it. Yeah. Like the dad.
Well, so coke.
I might as well just start doing coke and selling it. To be honest with you,
It might be a little harder these days to steal an airplane, though, I must say.
That is probably true, and they have stuff like radar now that and border patrol and whatnot tracking that stuff.
Right.
How about you?
More difficult. I'm gonna have to go with our boy Diego. Diego, the insane partner that he meets in prison. He's a fellow Spaniard, completely unhinged. Not that I'm coked out. Diego strikes me as a do it now type of guy, right? I'm from the same ilk, right? I'll give you an example. I'm staining my deck this weekend. The thought just pops into my head that I want to stain my deck. So I just watch a bunch of YouTube videos on the proper procedure on how to do it. And then I just go out and get the stuff and just do it. This is a very Diego type of thing because this guy's like, here's my plan, George. I'm just going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's not part of the plan. This was our bigger picture here. You know what I mean? He's just an act now guy.
There's nothing that pops in your head like, I can't do this.
Right.
So I should hire someone to do it. It's just, I can do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. That's just
this weekend.
That's the only way you can do things. The only way you can do things and get them done is not by thinking about them and let them kind of just mull around. And, oh, well, yeah, because you're going to procrastinate.
Mm.
Just set yourself a timeline and just do it. Like, it's non-negotiable. It's got to get done. Just act. So that's, very Diego. But talk to me about some of these Kino scenes.
Yeah, the first scene is George's childhood, and it's kind of interesting because it's in the 50s. And does it seem like the color is a little brighter in these scenes?
Yeah, they mess with the saturation, but they do a good job with, getting... I must say, this movie, my major takeaway from this movie is that they do a really good job with wardrobe, setting the scenes, and one thing that we might touch on later is the character's growth throughout the movie. This movie does like a lot of jumping around to different locations, different time periods.
Yeah.
And whoever the wardrobe person is, the set designer, they kill it. Because, even if it's something with like a hair change, you could see these characters age throughout the movie because it keeps, I looked at the cast, there's probably maybe like 50 people in this movie, but like core people in this movie, characters, there's probably like 10 or so. But they do such a cool job. It just, every time you see them on screen and it's a different time period, they really do a good job at capturing like the location, what they're wearing, which is really, really cool. But to your point in the 50s segment, yeah, they got the cars, they got just the kind of verbiage they're using, which is really cool. 100%, yeah. So
like he's wearing a suit as a kid.
Yeah. That's what you do in the 50s.
Right.
You wear a suit.
The bus, the house, the Christmas scene, it's all time, and it only takes a minute during the actual movie.
There's a scene where all these montages, there's like 5 montages into this movie. And I was thinking about why I'm watching it. Even just to where they're selling the drugs in California, they just get all these little scenes where they're selling it to the bikers, right? Or they're on the beach and there's just a ton of extras. Those scenes, they're maybe 2 seconds on screen, but they take a while to set up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? To shoot those, like that's like a couple hours in a day.
Yeah.
Right? To shoot just that 1-2 seconds on screen, which is pretty wild. But like I said, that's like my favorite part of this movie is they just really capture the time frame and just the, not to nerd out about.
They capture the spirit of the era that they're portraying.
It just does a good job with it.
Yeah, but this scene where they're in the 50s, it's just like I was just saying to you, this movie is all about George just getting screwed over. Every scene is about him getting screwed over in some way.
It seems like it. Yes, it seems like it.
And it just starts off where his mom just like leaves the family and comes back and the dad is okay with it. But George, after X amount of times this happens, he's not okay with it.
Dude, his mom's a bitch. Plain and simple. The dad is just the number one dad, right? Takes her back after multiple times of leaving. George, as a kid, acknowledges this. Like, you think this isn't going to have a lasting effect on your kid when you're belittling his dad, right? Calling him a cheapskate. And the guy's working, it says, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week? Like, what are we talking about here? But you'll see it throughout the movie. It's just alarming.
Even though George loves his dad, does he get the impression that it's not okay to be poor? So he makes the decision when he's very young, I can never be like this.
Well, yeah, I think that's where, right. Sorry, go ahead.
It sets up his whole life of taking risks and not having any upper limit of how much money you can really say this is enough.
It sets the table. Yeah. So we'll talk about it as like, what's enough, but it does, you're right. It sets the table. That scene where him and his dad are, I guess the bank's closing his business, right? Because they can't afford payments. And George is kind of distraught. And the first thing his dad says is, let's go get ice cream.
Yeah.
Right. Because he's just the number one dad. But George is like, I don't want ice cream right now. What are we going to do? You know what I mean? What are we going to do about money? He's like, George, we'll figure it out. Right. Money comes and goes, but money's not real. And it's really cool because he tries to give him these life lessons throughout the movie. And it's just another example.
I mean, they have a house. They have a car.
Mm-hmm.
They're not homeless.
Right.
But because his mom is expecting more out of life.
Right.
You know, it's a unbelievable situation in his mind now that I can't be like this.
Well, I guess Ray Liotta's character is so awesome. He's such a great dude. But I guess I have to ask the question when he says things like this or takes the mom back, does that make him a weak man?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's just that he's not ego driven at all. He has very little ego.
He's the ultimate family man.
He's an ascended man. But the problem is that we're living in this world and you have to play the game if you're living in this world.
Meaning?
He says money isn't real, and he's right. It doesn't matter. But why play the game, meaning why live, if you're not going to, live your life? What's the point of your life if you're not going to play the game? If you're so egoless that nothing really matters. Right. He's saying money isn't real and everything, but it is real because it can buy you things.
It can buy you things, but I think at the same time he's telling them don't put too much stock into money, right? Because you're going to miss out all that energy trying to acquire money. You're going to miss out on the important things, which we'll see later in the movie when he loses valuable time with his daughter because he was worried about money.
Mm-hmm. You almost have two polar opposites in George's dad, who's saying money doesn't matter at all, and his mom, who is upset all the time because they don't have money.
Right.
Foreshadowing, George marries his Colombian wife, and when does she start flipping out? It's when they don't have money.
What's the common denominator here?
It's subconscious programming. You're marrying your mom.
There you go.
I mean, think about it. We'll get into it when we get to it, but the people in this world are so crazy that George, even no matter what, even if you're like a normal person, you're going to get brought down by crazy people that are surrounding you in this world. It's inevitable.
Facts. Yep.
And what eventually brings him down, the woman that he marries, who's so concerned about money, just loses her mind and gets him arrested.
You hate to see it.
But it's like he's marrying his mom.
Facts. We'll get to that. But we start off in California. Take us there.
This movie just goes so fast.
It does.
It's a 2-hour movie and it spans this whole guy's life. And it seems like the beginning part, it's kind of glossed over because it's not as exciting as the cocaine part.
Yeah, you're talking about the weed part when they go to California. Kind of starts out, dips his toes in the...
Yeah, it's like he's a kid. He decides to be rich. So he goes to California and he's out there. Oh, turns out his neighbor is his new girlfriend now. In like 30 seconds this happens. Then he decides to start selling weed. she is a stewardess and has a connection out there. So it's like all
she sets him up with Derek for real.
Derek for real.
Talk to me about Derek for real.
Derek for real is played by Pee-wee Herman. And another like great role for this actor post Pee-wee, where he kind of went to prison for a while in real life.
Right.
He didn't get to prison for a while, but he got arrested for beating off or something in a theater, and then it was like his life was over, and then this was part of somewhat of his comeback, I believe.
Which, by the way, great character in this movie.
Oh yeah,
it's a couple takeaways here. That's funny is Tuna, who's his partner, his buddy. I can't remember that actor's name, but he's the one that lost a ton of weight.
Yeah,
the two of them are. I get it. It's the 70s. They're in California, but the wigs that they put them in.
Ethan Suplee.
Yeah, him and Depp. They put these wigs on them, and they're like a bowl cut, and it's hilarious. Maybe it's because I know these actors and I've seen them and stuff, but I'm just not buying those wigs. They're absolutely hilarious.
Their 70s wigs are very incredible. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, on top of the fact that we just watched The Town,
yeah.
You got Depp doing this Boston accent because he's supposed to be from Massachusetts. I mean, it's a very Johnny Depp Boston accent, if that makes sense. It's just Johnny Depp with a Boston twang.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious. But yeah, this next scene kind of bothers me because they're selling this weed right on the East Coast, and it's working out well, her being a stewardess, but they're like, all right, we need more, right? Because Dooley, who is Yabo in Gleaming the Cube, is the East Coast, I guess, distributor. He's like, they want more, want more. So they meet this guy down in Mexico who has a ton of weed, right? And this part bothers me, right? They hijack a plane, a Cessna. They steal it from an airstrip. They fly it down, right? For the first, I guess, round of pot. They bring it back. And then it just it's like, you're assuming that they're going to have this relationship with this guy. They kind of established that they're going to be flying down there regularly. What's the plan? You're just going to keep stealing planes from an airstrip? I don't understand that.
Well, yeah, I want to believe that they bought a plane. I thought about that exact thing when I was watching it. I was like, how much of the profits from the first trip could they have bought a plane themselves with those profits?
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, eventually they do. Don't they hire a pilot eventually?
Yeah, but that's when they're dealing. It's part of when they're dealing with coke. Like when they're flying these planes, it's Dooley flying the plane himself.
Mm-hmm.
When he has that trouble landing in Mexico on the airstrip, they're stealing this plane again. It's just like they're glossing over so much. All of a sudden, they're stealing a plane and flying into Mexico. Like a scene before that, they were just selling weed in California. They fly down to Mexico and they're just like, hey, is anyone selling marijuana? Then they just find a farmer who has a whole boatload of marijuana. Right, and now they're stealing a plane and just flying down there. And this all happens within like a couple minutes in the runtime of the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
It
never over a lot.
Yeah, it just doesn't sit well with me. I'm like, okay, what's the plan here? But whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, so then they're turning tons of profit. They buy this house in Acapulco. Fun fact, our friend Steph that we work with got married at this exact house.
Really?
Pretty cool. Oh yeah. Yep.
Wow.
But yeah, so then there's a scene where they're having dinner with George's parents, and his mom is, fawning over the engagement ring because it's so big. And, Ray Liotta chimes in and he's saying wow, how'd you afford such a ring and a construction salary? Of course, the mom just steps in, walks all over him. And she's like, oh, shut your big fat mouth. It's called layaway. Calls him a cheapskate. Like, this bitch. Are you kidding me?
The crazy thing about this is she is so preoccupied with the money and like the jewelry, and later in the movie the house that they buy. But also, she doesn't like the fact that her son's a drug dealer. Like, normally, she'd be fine with the money and everything, even if he was a drug dealer. But it's the fact that her reputation is hurt by everyone in town knowing that her son is a drug dealer. That's why he has the money. So she's not cool with it after that. So it's her ego getting hurt by her reputation taking a hit. Otherwise, she'd be perfectly fine with all the money.
Yep.
Whereas the dad was just kind of like skeptical of the whole thing because he doesn't like where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not strong enough to just tell him, you can't be doing this.
Right.
He's letting him be his own man. Is it not strong enough?
Right. Is it not strong enough, or is it, like you just said, he's letting him be his own man? He's like, you're going to have to make your mistakes. He says later in the movie, it's not what I would have chose for you.
Right.
But it's your life.
He's letting him be his own man, and maybe he doesn't realize the ramifications of where this goes in life.
Mm-hmm.
But once you start making a shit ton of money dealing drugs, it's hard to just do anything else. Because you're always going to be like, well, I can just do another drug deal and get $100,000.
Yep. There's a scene here where George gets arrested, right? And he goes to court. And the only thing that I really want to point out here is George has this strip. It's incredible. He's rocking a turtleneck sweater with a pea coat and a long hair.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just very Sea Captain pilled. I don't know if you took notice of that.
Oh, yeah. This was he starts popping off to the judge saying crazy, like, 60s lines, 60s music lines. And you're like, this is not going to go over well. And she just immediately hits him with a $20,000 bail, which I guess was big when he got arrested. But it doesn't really faze him that much, and he just skips bail.
Right.
And then he gets out of prison, and he doesn't get out. He gets out of the courthouse, and his girlfriend tells him she doesn't have 2 years to wait for him.
Right.
Why is that?
So she's got the cancer, as it turns out. But there's a scene there where she tells him, and it's like a very intimate scene, like kind of panning around them or whatever. And you want to talk about crazy faces, right? Johnny Depp does this face where he's like, what are you talking about? Well, you don't have 2 years. You're not going to wait for me? And then he just like, he kind of catches what she's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't have 2 years. And he does this kind of weird, like, huh? It's like,
right.
But they pan around and they didn't edit it out. So he just does it a second time. I guess
it dawns on him.
Yeah, but it dawns on him twice. But, yeah, it was kind of hilarious. But immediately following that, George is on the run, right? And his mom calls the cops.
His girlfriend with cancer is dead. He skips bail to go take care of her in her last time on Earth.
Right.
Buries her, and then goes back to his parents' house. Now, I gotta tell you, first off, this is $20,000 bail. It's not like he's on the FBI's most wanted list. They're not coming to find him in Mexico. They're probably not going a state over to find him. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't a big deal. It's this guy selling weed, right?
Right.
So he goes home and he gets arrested because his mom calls the cops on him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the cops are looking for him again. It's all her wanting revenge on him for whatever, for him never loving her as a mom.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think that you do see that where he's kind of frustrated with her at the beginning when she comes back and he like won't hug her back.
Yeah.
It's kind of foreshadowing, right? But yeah, she's kind of jealous of the relationship that he has with his dad. And at the beginning of that scene, it's like his dad hears that he came home, he comes in from the other room, and it's like, kind of just catches me, like, the glee that this dude has when he hugs George. It's like something only like a dad who hasn't seen his son in so long can portray, right? And it's just like a powerful scene. They share a drink, and George is, saying he's good at what he does, and he's kind of not really bragging to his dad, but looking for that praise or whatever. And his dad just doesn't say anything. He's like, "You could have been great at anything."
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of just like, you don't need to be doing this. You could, whatever you would have done, you would have been great at. It didn't have to be this. And then obviously the cops come, put him in the cop car. But right there is, he finds out that the mom, she says out loud that, "What did you want me to do?" So it's established that she called the cops, and he just gives her this death stare.
Well, she feels bad about it after the fact, because...
Does she?
That's why she's flipping out at the neighbors and everything, because she knows that she did wrong in calling the cops on her son, because, like, you're not going to call the cops on your son if he's going to prison for like 5 years or whatever, how many years it would have been, 3 years, I don't know, 2, I forget, he says 26 months or whatever he's in prison.
Yeah.
You don't want your son to go to prison for any amount of time.
Right.
Even if he's a drug dealer. He's dealing weed, dude. You know what I mean? Like, he's dealing weed and he's skipped out on bail.
Large amounts of it.
Large amounts. But,
But it caught me because he gives her this death stare, and you never see on screen him interact with his mom the rest of the movie. She says something later on where it shows him in the background. She's like, "I don't have a son."
Yes.
But they actually never converse the rest of the movie, which is pretty wild. But
I don't know if that's true.
What do you
think? I think because there is one part where they visit him when the Colombian wife is
but
pregnant.
I don't think, him and the mom don't talk.
You're right. She takes
she runs
the
ahead
mom
and talks. Yeah. She
and shows him the house, and then he goes outside with the dad. You're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that takes us to jail, where we get to meet Diego. Talk to me about Diego. Well, no, that's not true. Hold on. So we go to Colombia. This is after prison, right? George meets the new gang on an estate in Colombia. Diego, the drip, immaculate. This guy's rocking white golf shirt, white shorts, white sweater wrapped around his neck, and sunglasses, as a side note.
Yeah. He goes to jail and meets Diego, but it's only for like a minute in the movie. And then he figures out that he's a drug smuggler, and then they decide to do business or whatever. Immediately just goes to Colombia next scene. Diego looking completely insane in this drip. All of a sudden, like, it's the idea is they're going to do a coke run to test things out.
Right.
And at the meeting, he's hostile towards the Colombian guy for no reason. Like, why is he so combative in the scene? All he has to do is act like a professional.
Yeah, it's the body language. He does this with a little bit with El Padrino and Escobar, and he tells him to put the sunglasses down. I think it's just his character.
Yeah.
Right? And the guy, Cesar, Cesar doesn't like him to begin with. It ends up being, his Colombian wife was Cesar's fiance.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're establishing that, but to your point, it's like, why is this dude? Like, you just got out. You're seemingly going to start running with this new crew. Why don't you just not be a dick?
Yeah, you don't know these guys. Like, it seems very...
and not for nothing, he says he wants to know what's in the suitcases.
Yeah.
What clothes. Guy, he's just trying to be thorough.
Hey, by the way, you just got out of prison. He knows that you and Diego just got out of prison. So why would he trust you? Right. He's going to need a little bit more than, "Hey, bud, trust me." I don't know why that's out of the question, but the guy's so combative towards him. It's very off-putting. It
is weird. And then you got Diego chiming in, and he's like, "Hey, yay, 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 yay." This dude, the actor, absolutely rules. But that's when they recruit the pilot, right? And you want to talk about your affinity for random actors.
Oh yeah.
This guy's been in some stuff, but I think his name in the movie, what is his name? It's just the most mundane name of anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jack Stevens or something like that. And he just kills the one line that he has, where he's like questioning how he has to take all the risk.
Yeah. I want $2 million.
Yeah,
they're given $3 million for the three of them, and he just turns. He's like, "I want $2 million."
But yeah, he kills the line, and then this is where you get like a real kind of clear depiction of Diego, because the girl that he's with is like cursing him out in Spanish, and then she slaps him, right? And then Diego, you just see like his profile. And he just has this look on him. He just starts like smiling, and he just zips back around and just smacks the shit out of her. And then it's just like she starts freaking out. He has her like pinned in the room. But yeah, it's Diego's character is pretty insane.
By the way, yeah, George and Diego are like business partners.
Mm-hmm.
But why is George so dedicated to Diego? It is established that they meet in prison and they're cellmates.
Right.
But for how long and why? All of a sudden, Diego gets out. He's completely unhinged. He's slapping this girl. He tells George to go on a favor for him, which gets him jammed up because the guys rough him up. And he's the one that sells Diego's coke. It's not Diego.
Right. Yeah, it's well, he also gets George shot later on.
He gets George shot.
But yeah, his character is a little bit unhinged, but I think he says in jail, it's his dream is to just get to the top.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so pissed when Escobar only wants to meet George and doesn't want to meet him. He's visibly pissed off. Right. So the question was he, when he says, "Oh, we are brothers, George, we are brothers." Are they really? Or was he just using them as a pawn?
The way I look at it is he's using them as a pawn the whole time. But like even in prison,
why he's also side note is also why he's so pissed that George never gives up the name, his California connection. Derek, for real.
Well, you gotta see, if you're George, if you're a guy, a drug dealer like this, you have to understand that there's people in this world that are completely unhinged. Otherwise, they would be doing something normal. And you see someone like Diego just kind of flipping out, slapping chicks, getting you shot, telling you, "Do me a favor, I need you to go pick up 50 keys of coke." Zero explanation, and the guys there are super pissed at him.
Yeah.
So get mad at you. You're lucky to get out with your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to understand, right then and there, after that favor, he should have been like, "Okay, I kind of have to distance myself from this guy."
Exactly. That's a good point. Yeah,
he should have been thinking about distancing himself from Diego almost immediately. Right. But he didn't for some reason. So George, not the smartest drug dealer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, so...
you want to talk about funny characters. Bobcat Goldthwait in this movie. The guy, so they take the coke that they get from Colombia and they go to Derek for Real's house and measure the purity. And the guy who does it is Bobcat Goldthwait, who's in like a ton of stuff. He was in like the Police Academy.
Bobcat Goldthwait.
He's this... I don't know how to describe him, but you'd recognize him if you saw him. He's in Scrooged. He's in like Police Academy sequels. And his kind of gimmick is that he's got this like weird squeaky voice.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't really portray his gimmick as much in this movie, other than he's just this kind of maniac chemist who figures out how pure the coke is and then starts saying he can't. He's like, "Can I do a line?" And he's like, "Yeah, knock yourself out." And then he says he can't feel his face.
Well, he's testing the purity of it. And he's like, "Okay, 100, 110, 120. Fuck me running. 160?" Like, it's that character for the seconds that he's on screen he's good. But yeah, so something that caught me is like right after this, George is on a high because he's killing the game, right? He's selling all this coke, and he's walking around the airport with a couple $1 million in his hand, right? This is before he gets taken to Escobar, and the guy is rocking like high end suit, high end glasses, kind of thing. His whole outfit. Wouldn't you think he'd be a little more inconspicuous?
Yes. But the problem is that you're thinking of it like a normal person, and normal people don't get involved in selling copious amounts of cocaine. You know what I mean? Like once you get a house that's filled with cash, it might do something to your psyche,
right?
Where you start going crazy yourself and thinking you're invincible. That's why a lot of these guys probably get caught. Is the thing that gets them into the game is what ultimately gets them caught, and it's being completely insane.
Yeah,
you're already an unhinged person if you're in this world. You're willing to risk so much for money. Like, are you willing to risk 40 years of your life in jail for $60 million?
Not even 1 year. It's alarming, but yeah, it's alarming.
That's it.
But
these drug dealers are unhinged people, and they have huge egos. They get over not with smarts a lot of the time. They get over with huge balls. They're able to take huge risks because they're, I don't know, insane. And that's why I never want to be around these people. And that's why George in this movie should take stock of the people that he's surrounding himself with and be like, these people are crazy. I should get out of the game. I have $60 million. I need to get out of the game.
He says that to Escobar. He says, you need somebody with balls.
That's,
he cracks.
Yeah. And he knows probably at that point he's done so much risky stuff that he does have balls. But like, I remember hanging out with my friend growing up in grade school. And when I was in college, like, him and this other kid lived together, and this other kid was like a drug dealer. And I just remember going over their house one time. They were having like a party, and there was just all these like random people there. And I just remember leaving and be like, I'm never coming here again. I don't know who these people are. They seem real unhinged, all these people, these weird drug people. And sure enough, their house got robbed. Like, they got robbed after that. So, I mean, it's only a matter of time until some weird dude does something unhinged and gets everyone arrested. Like, someone gets arrested, they tell the cops about what you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the way it works. But when he meets Escobar, Escobar's kind of just feeling him out. He's like, I need someone loyal. And he tells George to take off his glasses. He wants to see look in his eyes. And he does this little thing with his finger. He's like looking at him, down at him because he's tall. He's like pointing back and forth through his eyes. And he goes, okay, we're in business. It's just hilarious.
Escobar, played by the guy from Training Day that was in...
that guy's got a very unique look about him.
Yeah.
Which is, really cool.
He's a good actor. I'm a fan. He's in like a ton of other stuff. He was in all sorts of stuff recently, like The Walking Dead, Fear of the Walking Dead, and everything. But you just see back then he was in, like, he's had a long career.
Yeah, no, he's good. My main thing is, why is George keeping Derek a secret from everybody? I'm wondering if it's for Derek's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone's grilling him, asking him to tell him who he is, and I'm just wondering, is it to protect Derek?
I don't think so.
Because he's so small time, and initially, remember, they were selling the weed, and he's like, well, I don't want, or he gives him the coke, he's like, I don't know, dude, just sell it. Because Derek's like concerned, he's like, I don't know what to do with all this. He's like, just sell it.
Yeah.
He doesn't want him to get it over his head, maybe?
There's probably an element of that because they're friends, but I think it's more to do with the fact that he knows somewhere inside that if he gives up his connect, that's his like ace in the hole. That's what keeps him in the business.
Right, yeah.
And Diego is going to abandon him potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, because maybe he thinks they're friends. That's what, he reluctantly gives him the information after he gets shot. But I think inside he really knows that once I give this information away, I'm out of the game, which is eventually what happens.
So it leads us to him meeting Penelope Cruz, Mirtha. What a name, Mirtha. But he ends up with Mirtha, and he's showing his parents his new house, right? And he's like walking his dad outside. He's like, well, I got this import-export business and, got my investment. He's like, don't bullshit me, George. I got very little time with you. I want it to be honest. You know what I mean? It's a very powerful scene, because then it just kind of segues over to them looking at his cars, right? And his dad just goes, are you happy? And George goes, you know what? Yeah, I am happy, Dad, at the moment. At the moment, I am happy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of powerful.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing, this relationship that they have, because the dad isn't really approving of what George is doing.
Right.
But he doesn't really want to say anything. He just wants to kind of enjoy his time with George, and that's it. And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Because obviously, he probably should tell him, like, yo, dude, like, you need to chill the fuck out in the drug game. You need to, like, just take your winnings and
cut your losses, or not even cut your losses, just quit while you're ahead, right?
Yeah,
it's
just at X amount of millions of dollars, just invest it and live.
You don't need to go any further. How much, like we were saying before, how much is enough?
You're already rich forever, but it's a mindset that he got as a kid that was like, I need more. You know what I mean? He can't be poor. He needs more all the time. And now he's in the game and he finds that he's good at it or whatever. His dad should tell him stop. But he also just kind of like,
but he says,
part of me says,
you're your own man. All right. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life.
Yeah.
I'm giving you these breadcrumbs. If you can't figure it out, it's on you. He's not going to ever overstep his boundaries as his dad. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it leads to a scene where they're like outside this hotel or whatever. It's the scene where George gets shot, and they're arguing about the California connection. And it struck me, why are these two dudes who have a crazy amount of money doing this flunky legwork?
Right.
Is there any reason for that?
None. No idea. It makes no sense to me. You said that to me, and I was like, boy, that's a great point. Other than the fact that to push the narrative of the film.
Right. And that's what I think it was, ultimately.
Also, in this scene, you start to see Diego's completely coked out insanity.
Yeah, he starts to unravel, which leads us up to the best scene of the movie.
Yeah.
Where George finds out that Diego now has his own island. So he goes to visit him because George finds out that he's been cut out by Derek, for real, and Diego. So George goes up to him and this altercation occurs. And I don't even know how to describe this. Give it a shot.
He goes up and confronts Diego and says, you betrayed me. And the funny thing about this that I found is Diego does like a line of coke and he's like, maybe I did betray you. Maybe a little bit.
A little bit.
But Diego's face in this, his eyes flutter like up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bit of hurt in him where he feels like betrayed.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you what, though. Talk about on screen, and you can just read their body language. Johnny Depp in the scene, you can just you can see there's a ton of adrenaline in him as he goes and kind of confronts Diego, and it really comes across, man. You can just tell he's excitable and he's kind of angry, like he wants to do something. Before obviously he pulls the gun out and puts it up to his head, but it's just the two of them together. It's just back and forth. It's pretty powerful.
Face to face, you get a camera shot right. The actor's face is super close up in the camera. Diego coked out of his mind. Diego has, I can't tell if they're green or blue eyes.
I think blue.
Are they blue? and they're like super
dilated.
Yeah, but they're super bright in this scene, the way the light hits him, and his eyes are going like up and down, which is, there's a bit of like hurt in his voice when he's saying this stuff. Because initially he's like, why would you accuse me? He says, your accusations.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
But we are brothers, George. We are brothers.
Yeah, and George, it's a completely insane move to be even going to this island. He's walking into a compound where there's a bunch of dudes with assault rifles, and he has an unloaded gun in his back.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the guy who was his wife's ex-fiance, who he hated, who had, for seemingly for no reason, this animosity towards. And he's the guy who says, get off me. He says, oh, good to see you, George. Puts his hand on it. He's like, don't touch me. And by the way, dude, you're walking into this compound where everyone has guns and they're all coked out.
And they're coked out. This is a great point, because they're coked out, and he fires the gun and it's a blank. Mm-hmm. But they're probably so on edge, these guys with assault rifles. As soon as that cocks, I'm pretty sure they're going to point their guns at him and like, you know, it whatever. It's a movie. But
yeah,
the point being is, you know, on a side note though, Diego's drip here.
Unbelievable.
The guy's rocking a military jacket with the sleeves cut off, a yellow wife beater underneath it, and dog tags.
And dog tags.
I mean, why not? It's next level. But this
super
might be the
sweaty
opportunity. Yeah, super sweaty. This might be the perfect opportunity to ask, was there any, let's talk about the loadouts here in this movie. Anything stick out at you?
Yeah, the fact that he has a 1911 for a gun, because usually you carry them cocked and locked, meaning you have a bullet in the chamber, you cock it, and then you put the safety on, because it's a single action trigger. If it's uncocked, you can't pull the trigger and have it go off. You have to have it cocked first. So I'd have to go and look, because the reason I bring this up is in a lot of movies, they'll have like a 1911 and it'll be uncocked and they're holding it ready to shoot someone. Right. And if anyone actually knew how that gun operated, they wouldn't be scared because they see the gun's not cocked. So there's no way for him to pull the trigger and have it go off. That's just like a gun thing where you see it in a lot of movies or whatever. I couldn't tell in this one if it was cocked already when he pulled it out. I couldn't really, I'd have to go back. However, that being said, like, I wouldn't even go on this island. Think of what you're doing. You're going to confront him. You already know the truth. What are you confronting him for?
He's pissed.
Well, he's pissed, but if you're walking into like a potential death here, why do that? If you're really pissed at him, you go and dress like you get off the boat, like like Arnold in the movie Commando, and then you strap up. That scene of Arnold in Commando where he like cocks all the guns. He's got like 50 guns on him. That's how you go into the island.
I don't even know if it's that or he just, want to get his point across. I'm not scared, right? He knows that Diego's not going to kill him because they're brothers, George. But he actually jacks him up. He has his boys, rough him up. But I think he kind of knew that he would be killed. I think you just want to see him face to face. It
only makes sense in the sense of he's doing it to prove a point. But it would make way more sense because in the next scene, he's just like, yeah, I'm quitting, by the way. I have $60 million and I'm just getting out of the game.
Right.
Like, why don't you just skip going to the island and just quit with your 60 million? Right. Why put yourself at risk that way?
Well, then, it cuts to Penelope Cruz. She gets him arrested because she's like coked out. Because doesn't he go straight? And then she's just tired of the lifestyle. That was the okay. I'm sorry. That was the one. This is the one after this. This is the time she gets him arrested. After that, she gets him arrested in the car, right? Out of sheer spite.
There's a montage of like him living a normal life, and they throw him having a mustache on at one point.
That's
and it's like, what?
It rolls though. But I kind of, the whole thing where she gets him arrested both times, again, with money, or that he's not doing drugs anymore. It's just, she's just doing this out of spite. And it's just a matter of, he's just getting let down by all these women in his life throughout the movie. From his mom at the beginning, his first fiance, Barbara, who's the stewardess. I mean, she dies, obviously not her fault, but, and I think that was his like one true love that you show. And then obviously Penelope Cruz just being completely insane.
Right.
Yeah. And it's just like, this guy just keeps getting let down.
The whole movie, every scene, if you go through this movie, every scene is him just getting let down or screwed over by someone.
Exactly. And then, the worst part is too, it's like she gets him arrested and FBI or whoever it was is taking his daughter away, and she just gives him this look. It's like he didn't even do anything, dude. This was for his birthday, and she just had the Coke at the house because she wanted the party, and now he's screwed over. It's like, dude, give me a break.
It's, even if you're, a smart person who, I'm too smart to get arrested, like George doesn't seem to be doing anything too crazy in this movie.
No.
But even if you're a smart person who's able to navigate this complex world of psychos, it doesn't matter because you're eventually going to get taken down by, some person in your company. Everyone in this world is insane. It would behoove you, if you enter this world, to keep everyone at a distance. That's what they do in Heat. The guy in Heat is like, I gotta leave. If I catch heat, I'm leaving, whatever, right? So that's how you're able to get over. You're able to survive because eventually someone is going to get arrested and give the cops information on you, or your crazy girlfriend that you have from this world is going to get dissatisfied with a life that's normal.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Another thing it is, he goes to take the money out, right?
Yeah.
And this, I was very confused here. And they appropriate his money from, I guess, was the Bank of Panama. Can they do that?
Oh yeah, they could do it. It's called, they have machine guns and you don't. They can take your stuff.
Cases.
Like, they were just talking about, there was a video that got leaked a couple years ago, and it was about bail-ins, and it was describing if there was some kind of financial crisis again, they can do some kind of thing called a bail-in, and it's essentially they just take your money. This is American banks that they were talking about. These American bankers sitting around a table talking about this. But this is a third world country where this guy just goes and puts all his money, like $60 million in cash, into this bank.
Right.
There's a reason, because he mentions that if he was going to do it in America, they would have kept 40%. And he's like, imagine me giving 40% over to these people.
Right.
Yeah, there's a reason why you give the 40% over. And it's because you wash your money, and now there's more safeguards in America with the banking system. That's why you do it. That's why everyone is washing their money, and it's such a convoluted process. It's because they want the money to be safe, where they go to the bank and they could just withdraw it and there's no problem.
Exactly. Yeah. But that leads us to the scene where they're at the dinner table and Mirth is freaking out because they have no money, and he's just trying to be a good dad, right? And his daughter's, you see the concern on her face, and it kind of struck me. He's still not realizing that it's more important to live a modest life with healthy relationships than to put your freedom in jeopardy and have a bunch of money, right? That's kind of what I take from this. He's still not there yet. He's still not, but he's addicted. Yeah, but he's still not figuring it out. It's like,
it's going to be hard to go back and be living a square life if you have, if you know tomorrow you can spend 5 minutes and get like $100,000 if you do something illegal.
Right.
I just take this small risk, I get a ton of money. I've done it I've done it 1,000,000 times. Where's the risk? Well, the risk is now you're in your 40s and you have nothing to your name and you just have no skills whatsoever except for how to smuggle drugs. That's the risk.
Well, I mean, that kind of leads to his final arrest in the movie, right? He wants to do one last little score, and even Dooley's there to help him out, right? And sure enough, he gets set up, right? This would have been the final one. He's excited because he's like, oh, telling Dooley, I'm hanging out with my daughter, and I got this date set planned to hang out with her, and sure enough, he gets arrested, leaves her out high and dry again. Sure enough, we're a revolving door at this point.
I just want to point out that in this last heist that he's pulling, this last coke deal, the guy he meets at the bar that is his connecting to this new crew is the guy that plays Wayne Grow in Heat. His name's Kevin Gage.
Yeah.
Incredible actor. And he has the most powerful skullet of all time. And this is, listen, we're talking about bald maxing earlier.
Folks.
Okay. Sometimes you just have to accept reality. You don't shave your head. You do the Chad skullet. Okay. That is really embracing your baldness.
Facts. I mean, pretty much that's the long and short of it. He makes a tape for his dad.
He gets arrested by these guys. Yeah. And they're working like for the cops.
This is one of the best, if not the best scene in the movie where he records a message to his dad. And here you have this piano music again, just every time there's something sad, right? Just it hits you right in the feels. And it's a very powerful scene, And one thing I noticed, he refers to him as Pop the entire movie, but he finally calls him Dad here, right? So he knows he's never going to see him again, but he says, after 42 years, I finally realized, what you're trying to say, that the money isn't real, right? And as he's explaining everything, it's like a real intimate scene here, and he says, you're the best. It just cuts. He's like, you're the best, Dad. And he keeps talking, but at that scene, it cuts over to Liotta, and he just has like a tear in his eye.
Yeah.
It's just very powerful. Great scene. Just hits you right in the feels.
Well, it's sad also because there's a ton of scenes in this movie where it's like the prodigal son is going to come home, and he never does.
That's a good way. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
He's always just in prison, and now instead of seeing his dad again, he has to make a audio tape in prison.
Yep.
And just imagine that his dad's going to get it before he dies.
Yep. Yeah. What's your overall take then on this movie? I mean, what's the underlying theme here?
The underlying theme is don't get involved in drugs. don't start dealing coke. Like this whole movie is just one scene after another of George getting screwed over.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing good happens to him in this movie except like, I don't know.
It's all temporary.
Wife and he has a house with like full of cash that they can't fit anymore. That's literally 2 scenes that take 10 seconds in the movie.
That's a good point.
The rest of the
That's
stuff. So like my rating for this movie is a 7, and I'll tell you, it's because I find this movie is pretty awesome. It has everything that that I love about movies, where we're talking about these random actors, these incredible scenes where they have these facial expressions that, it's so crazy what they're doing with their face, conveying all this emotion, but not saying anything, right? I love this stuff. And this movie has all of that. But
you only give it a 7.
Yeah. The problem is that this movie is super depressing, start to finish. I remember when I first watched this movie, and I'm like, this movie, like with my dad, watching it on the couch, I'm like, this is just depressing. Like, I don't want to watch this movie ever again.
Mm-hmm. No, fair enough. Yeah.
Like,
but there's some bright sides to it. I mean,
Where?
Well, I don't know. I guess, when they're raking in the money and everything's going good. But yeah, you're right. It just seconds later, it just the rug gets pulled out.
It gets super dark immediately. Yeah.
Fair enough. I gave it an 8.2. There's action, love, lust, great soundtrack, really cool shots. It's got a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
Good acting. So 8.2, solid in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. Another episode in episode 6, Blow.
We'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.